Hello, and welcome to Sports by Compian. My name, of course, is Stephen Compian, and I am joined here by both my favorite co-hosts in the world. First of all, of course, Dan Gill is here in person. Hello, Dan. How are you today?
Fantastic, buddy. How are y'all doing?
Oh, just living the dream. The sunglasses are looking on point. He's representing Baltimore Oilers, which are apparently a baseball team. And, of course, our Cowboys expert of the show, Corey Compian, joins us. Corey, how are you?
Know so much about the Cowboys, man. I know at least 3 names. It's wild.
Dude, resident expert right here. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a packed rugby and football show for you today. We have CARFU has kicked off, as you can see in our top screen up there. We're going to talk a little bit about the Division III Illinois Rugby. Get excited, people. Furthermore, World Rugby is still going on. They just about wrapped up their last week of summer rugby. Dan, am I right about that? They're probably not doing any more of these so close to the World Cup, right?
Yeah, no, I think that was the last cover.
That was the last weekend of it. There was some good games, some interesting games, some blowouts, Corey. Some blowouts. Also,
31-19 a blowout, or is that close?
Not that one. We're talking about the World Rugby, but yeah, there's a couple. Anyway, one game though that took place, World Rugby, and then we are going into NFL cuts. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the preseason has officially wrapped up. We're going to fuck around for a little bit, one more week while we have Labor Day, and then BAM! The NFL's kicking off too, so get excited about that. But there has been official cuts. It is done, so we are down to 50-man rosters. Furthermore, as I mentioned before, our resident Cowboy expert, Corey, will be giving us his predictions, his talks, his hopes, his dreams for your 23-24 Dallas Cowboys. Very exciting times, Dan, don't you think?
Always exciting when the NFL season starts.
Always exciting. Let's hop right into this, guys. Now, kicking it off, we had some Illinois rugby take place. Dan Gill was kind enough to go ahead and put this graphic together for us. So as you can see, we had some very interesting action here in week 1. The Lake County Coyotes, who we have mentioned a couple times throughout this process. Mr. Jeff Jewell may or may not be joining us for a pod to talk a little bit about his Coyotes, because they are off to a hot start, Dan. They go down to Peoria, because Peoria is third dangerous anywhere it's at home. And they went down to Peoria, that probably 2.5, maybe even 3-hour drive for those guys, and they put it on the Pigs. 46-26. Peoria take a heavy loss at home. Lake County starts off hot. Hot, Dan. Are these guys going right to the playoffs? What do we think?
I mean, they're always trying to play well. So is Peoria. We know a lot of the good guys out there. Some of them went to Scotland with us, so they can definitely ball out when it comes time to.
Yeah,
contain Curtis in the back.
Yeah, not only that forward pack going in looked dangerous with Blake back at 8 again for them. Peoria has been struggling to get numbers at practice, but this is a team that finished second last year, Corey. So this is a bit of a surprise to be taking an L this heavy from Lake County, who usually finishes about 3 or 4. They're right in the middle of the pack team. Looks like they're making a press to the playoffs. Let's see what happens here. Moving on, we had the Northwest Indiana Reapers go ahead and travel to the Riot. This is a typical number 6 versus number 1, Dan. And honestly, not a terrible performance out of the Northwest Indiana Reapers. They did get it put on them, it looks like, in the first half, but a strong performance out of them in the second. Saw them only lose by, a reasonable score. This wasn't terrible, considering it was 6 versus 1. What do you think? And Dan, this was at the Riot.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, Chicago area, when you get down there. The thing that they take advantage of well is they have the numbers down there that, Rockford, Peoria, Lake County kind of struggle to get. So they definitely have the depth to build these big rosters. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the Blaze have a D1, D3 team, and I
think they might have a D4 team also.
I think they do have a D4 team also.
So I know the Riot have a D3 and a D4 team for sure.
Yeah, so, when you kind of get down there, the Riot's always a good game to play against.
They were number 1 last year.
Like you said, they're always at the top of the table. So, your work's cut out for you heading into that game every week.
Oh, yeah, especially at the Riot. So, Corey, for context on this, when the boys show up to practice, we usually get about 17. We're really, really stoked when we get about 22. Are you live over there, Corey? Anyway,
Yeah.
So yeah, this is usually what we're getting at practice. Bad days, we see 8, you know. Peoria was apparently seeing like 4 or so up until like the week before their game. So, yeah, shocker, they lost that one. Turns out you got to show up to practice, boys. Anyway,
Teams.
oh, yeah, Corey, you know all about those teams.
Know all about outskellising throughout practice.
But this was a team that finished second last year, Corey, so it's a little surprising that they're out the gate so slow. I really wish the best for those. I just feel really bad for those poor pigs as they come in. Maybe they're going to be a little wounded by the time they show up into Rockford. The poor Ravens. We'll be there for you, boys. Don't worry. Anyway, but yeah, this is a pretty big game, Corey. So for the Riot, you know, for context, that they have 2 different teams, that means that they're getting fucking 60 to 30 people at practice consistently. Same with the Blaze. If they have 3 teams, these guys are looking at 60 to 90. Not to mention heavy competition all up and down the board. Everyone's trying to get onto that D squad, that D2 squad, but I bet there's crazy competition to stay on the D3 squad. Don't you think, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, if they're running 3, I'm double checking now, but if they're running 3,
that might be a bit much. That's what Paul said today, but I thought it was a bit much. It might just be a D2 and a D3, but either way, that's 2 more teams. Yeah, that's a whole extra team.
Yeah, I only see the Riot for a D4. I'm not seeing the Blaze.
I'm going to say, though, the women practiced with us today, and it was actually kind of nice. We had a shitload of numbers, and it kind of helps to be able to do some stuff. But anyway, hopping into...
I always love those joint practices.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Well, this was like the first actual joint practice we've ever done, really. Turns out a certain somebody will let Paul talk and just kind of run it. So it makes for conducive practice. She respects one person at least. Anyway, moving on. Big game here, guys. Now, Northwest Indiana goes into the Blaze and beats them 31-19. Now, that's not a huge blowout, but that is a 12-point win on a very good Blaze team. And once again, the Woodsmen were a middle-of-the-pack type of team as well. Them and Lake County pretty much play who's going to be 4, who's going to be 5. So, I mean, who's going to be 3, who's going to be 4. So either way, I could be wrong on that too, guys. Sorry. Point is, this is a big win for the Woodsmen at the Blaze, no less. So the Blaze are once again also off to a slow start, it looks like. And they are coming to yours truly, the Rockford Ravens, after Labor Day weekend. So, maybe, will they find themselves in an 0-2 gap?
All I'm going to say is, who made the schedule? Because...
Yeah. I'm glad we're going to get into this now, Dan. Go ahead.
It's dog shit. It's absolute dog shit. Because
well, this is my only gripe with it.
How does Rockford, like, okay, yes, because there's 7 teams in the league. I understand someone has a bye week 1. That's not my issue. How does Rockford have the first 2 weeks of the season on bye, and then they play 1, 2, 3, 6 games straight?
Well, everyone's on bye next week because it's Labor Day, so no one's playing next week.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, we did get screwed. I guess someone's going to get screwed every year, but I feel like there's got to be a better way to do this. Or
start it the week after Labor Day.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be. Either way, it screws you. Whoever's going to get that first bye, like, this is on Jeff Jewell. We will put him on blast if he comes on the program. Anyway, someone's going to get screwed. So my question is there any way to arrange this where you're not having a bye week at the beginning of the season? Like, couldn't they? No, there's really not much. They're just got to get another team in here.
Yeah, it's called get a 4th team or an 8th team.
We need an 8th team. That's the only way to do it.
No bye weeks.
You just coordinate the bye week. You just spread out the season a little longer and give everyone a bye week.
Well, because then everybody would play week 1.
That's true. 2 people would have to take a bye week at a time, huh?
Yeah, but then everybody could also play
one game
the first week together.
Yeah,
well, everybody would play week 1. Everybody would have week 2 off, and then you can scatter the 2 people off after that.
True. So then some teams are getting 2 weeks off in a row, which is whatever. It's better than 6 games in a row.
Ideally, you should play week 1, week 3, and then starting week 4, you could have a break.
Yeah,
like you could have a bye.
Ideally, 100%. I totally agree with that.
Hot take: semi-pro, you don't really need a bye week. Like,
you're not wrong.
It's such a short
That's
season.
It's
We're
6
not
games.
out here playing like thousands of games. Like
No,
a
you're right.
6-week stretch is kind of like, it's fine. There's like how many games in the season total?
6.
So yeah, you're fine.
I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna do it now.
Of how to make a schedule.
The Ravens are gonna do it now. So Anyway, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the Ravens, we decided to sit on the sidelines for this first week, let the boys go get rough against each other while we just continue to practice and hang out and do cool stuff. But that is D3 rugby in a nutshell here in Illinois. We'll find out what happens following week. On to some more professional.
Where did you guys place last week or last season?
We were 6 out of 7.
I mean, hey, not last.
Not last. We got those Reapers. They came to us. We're like, "Come here, Reapers!"
Take that, you scrubs.
Scoopy Reapers. They showed up with like 13 guys. We rented the players to begin. Good old Marcus over there just trying to hold it down. Oh, Marcus. Anyway, on to some more professional fancy rugby. We have England taking on Fiji, and now this is an historic win, as people are claiming on YouTube, for Fiji. We have already talked to George McCaddy about this in person. He is in full panic mode, Dan, about his England rugby team, and I think most English fans probably should be at this point in the season. I think
I was reading his comments in our group chat shortly after the game went final, and yeah, he would say he was unhappy was to put it very lightly. We've been very outspoken over the last several months about the status of England rugby, given how they played in Six Nations, they've played in these summer series. It just seems to be progressively going downhill.
100%.
Farrell, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they overturned his red card to still stand, because I know he got issued the red card in the one game. It got overturned and appealed, and then they filed again, and they reinstated the red. So I think he's out for like the first 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, 100%.
Of the World Cup, which
that's pool play.
He's gonna miss almost. Yeah, he's gonna miss almost the entire pool play, and at that point,
good luck getting out.
That could be it for him.
Yeah. Well, here's my hot take, Dan. Don't fire your coach right before the World Cup. That's my hot take. Probably why they're struggling now. He is over there rebuilding Dallas, Australia. Poor bastard. Poor Eddie Jones. Was so close. They were getting ready. Couldn't be patient enough, and now that's what you get. You're probably gonna get your ass kicked in the World Cup. Moving on,
that's all that matters.
So Scotland decided to go ahead and show Georgia why they're a second-tier team, world team. Now, I don't know how many of those Georgia starters played in this game, but this is what I like to call a beatdown, Dan. That's 33-6.
I mean, that's kind of a score that I would expect with that kind of matchup, especially for Scotland, making a tune-up in their very tough pool play. I would dare to say that they're going to end up in the toughest pool.
Yeah.
In this World Cup. So
yeah, they're definitely in a pool of death.
Heading in on the right foot.
Yeah.
But again, how many of these players are actually? How many of the starters are they actually still running? But
Either way, Italy absolutely put it on Japan. And am I wrong in thinking that Japan has not looked very good throughout this year? I feel like we've been seeing them lose to teams like Samoa. No, I said that right. Yeah. Anyway, but they've been losing some games that you wouldn't expect them to lose, and now, a tier 1 team, but definitely at the bottom of the tier 1s, absolutely puts it on them. 42-21.
Yeah, I mean, for as good as Japan looked last World Cup, I don't want to say a drop off, but it's definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting a little more.
How do the tiers work?
Basically, tier 1 nations are just all a bunch of badasses, and then there's tier 2 nations, which is kind of the rest of the world.
So tier 1 is like the guys that go to Six Nations.
Those guys, and then over on the Pacific too.
Southern, yeah.
So you got New Zealand, Australia, those guys. South Africa, yeah, they're all tier 1 nations too.
So is Italy tier 1 because they got their ass kicked in Six Nations?
No,
right?
Italy's actually tier 1, yeah. So they're like right at the
Yeah,
bottom
they
of tier
are,
one.
but-
They're like right at the bottom of tier one, pretty much. Them and Japan, because Japan just got elevated to tier one also.
There's
So
a big debate.
It's actually like a thing, like you're in or you're out type deal.
Yeah, they vote you in and such.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
I mean, there's a big debate about going back to 5 nations and getting rid of Italy. There's been talks about a relegation system, which is why you hear us talk about should Georgia replace Italy, like stuff like that, because Georgia does play very well to the top of the second tier in their leagues. But
The U.S. used to run that
Italy's-
that tier 2 division, Corey, and then they decided to stop playing rugby.
Yeah.
Stop playing good rugby.
But hey, the men's and women's U.S. team qualified for the Olympics for sevens, so
We got
there's
that.
something to look forward to.
There we go. Moving on, Ireland gets a very close win against Samoa. Good game for Samoa, honestly. 17-13 against arguably the best team in the world right now. Very, very good for them going into the World Cup. Give them some confidence. So, Dan?
Yeah, no, definitely. Ireland's at the top of the world right now, so good. Has to feel good for Samoa to keep it that close, but see what it goes.
And then France sorry, go ahead, Cor.
It's wild that rugby is just such like an island game.
Yeah, those Pacific guys are all about it.
Fiji, Japan, Georgia's not really an island, but like any of the UK countries, like all these little island places, are like we're just on this island, man. We're just gonna run into each other full speed. It's gonna be great. Like you don't really see these teams in like the World Cup of soccer. Like I don't know, I don't really watch that much soccer, but like Fiji and Samoa, I don't think they're really in the World Cup of
No,
soccer.
absolutely not.
I mean, in all fairness, Scotland really isn't a good soccer country.
No, they're not great either. But to go through that real quick, I think like Australia is probably the only good soccer player out there. Like New Zealand's not good. Is South Africa any good? They probably all play rugby, which as they should. It's a superior sport anyway. But here, guys, France decided to go ahead and let the world know, hey, we're probably the top team as they head into the World Cup. Just dismantled Australia, who has not looked great either. Leading in this whole past year, they've been getting kind of their ass kicked up and down. Eddie George just took over there, so it's hard with a new coach settling in, but they've been getting dismantled out there.
Well, France got pieced up by Scotland early, so they're not. Ireland's the only undefeated
I mean,
team.
No, they didn't necessarily get pieced up by Ireland, did they?
Or I'm sorry, Scotland. And like the first game, Scotland beat them 25-21.
Yeah,
Far left of your screen.
Yeah, they beat them. Yeah, but
I mean,
this is just a warm up. It's not even the World Cup yet. It's really just like a summer series type of thing.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
But I mean, like that's kind of expected. Like those are like two of the top. Like France, Scotland, and Ireland have pretty much been rotating in the top of 6 nations over the last couple of years. So like those are always going to be tight matches there.
This game is crazy to me. What happened here? 35-7, South Africa over New Zealand, and then that comes off of the feet of a very close game in New Zealand where New Zealand won that. So interesting.
Spain wasn't ready. Spain wasn't ready.
No.
I wonder how many are starting their main squad versus giving reserve guys more time.
They might have done all they wanted to, and they were like, all right, let's coast on this last game.
Yeah, because next week is when the World Cup starts. So I can't imagine they're going to want too many of them playing a week out.
That makes sense. Yeah, so that's probably what happened. So Australia does bounce back. I don't really get how that works. Why there's like 2 separate
teams. It's like their tier system.
Okay. Well, anyway, they took it to Portugal. Just absolutely destroyed poor little Portugal, who shouldn't even be there. The U.S. should be there instead, although I guess they did destroy the U.S. So anyway, as Corey mentioned.
Barbarians about? Or barbarians just random dudes go fight Samoa?
Pretty much, yeah. It's a bunch of pretty much. George explained this, or was it you, Dan, who explained it about the barbarians? No, it was George. Basically,
George.
Yeah, he explained it. It's something, Corey. I think they're guys who basically aren't quite qualifying for their own national teams, and they kind of go play for these guys.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that's about more or less what it is. And then, Spain was absolutely not ready for this game, and Spain was kind of throwing a fit, saying that they should have qualified for the World Cup, and then they played ineligible players, and ultimately got taken out. And then they go ahead and just drop the ball completely in the summer series here, Dan. I mean, why wouldn't you just put in all your starters and try your very best to really take it to Argentina? There's no reason for them to rest anybody. And geez, 3-62. Forgot to show up. Boys forgot to show up. Argentina also gets the second win as well. They looked at their B squad, went ahead and took out Chile. A close game there though, 26-28. Chile,
had a bunch of friendlies here. Is that what's going on?
Basically, yeah. These are basically friendlies. As you can see, Corey, the U.S. pretty much dropped the ball, sucked during these friendlies. Losers.
Yeah, that's hashtag sad.
Can't do this anymore.
Romania, take that, Romania.
Goofy ass Romania. Anyway, boys, hopping into some NFL action here. We have done the official cuts. Scrolling through this list earlier, I didn't really see anybody I recognized, to be honest, as to be expected for the most part.
I have someone that I'm going to call out that you might have overlooked. I'm sorry to say, Corey, that your boy Ben DiNucci got cut.
Oh no, not a Ben DiNucci! Oh, Ben DiNucci! I don't feel too strong about Ben DiNucci.
Another one that I was a little surprised about, I guess, because J.K. Dobbins made it back for the Ravens. The Ravens did cut Melvin Gordon.
Oh, makes sense. Myles Gaskin also caught the axe. Myles Gaskin, he's been over there with the Dolphins for a year. They finally decided to move on from him.
Doug Peterson cut his own son.
Miami.
Well, let's go through these, Dan, in order, because right now it's just otherwise I don't even know. Yeah. So anyway, all right, fair enough. Well, and Chris Coleman also catches a cut. He came over from the Philly Stars.
Yeah, there was a couple of XFL USFL guys that did.
Yeah, so he was an early first-round pick of the Vikings back in the day, right? The Vikings were the ones who drafted him. Went back to the USFL, and it does not look like the US or that the Dolphins have any use for him in the receiver room. A very tight, fast receiver room.
So I think it was surprising on the. Well, no, I think the Patriots one was surprising. I was reading this about them earlier. They cut Bailey. I was surprised about that.
A lot of people were
really well last year.
Yeah.
So didn't see that one coming. They also traded Nick Foles today for a 7th rounder. But I mean, they just gutted their QB room.
Yeah. So who do they have backing up Mac Jones at this point?
Oh, crud, what's his name?
And then Malik Cunningham. I've heard of him too.
That dude, he
was on
the
Titans.
QB.
Oh right. Wait, he was their 4th. They already cut him since last year. Wasn't he like their 3rd round pick? They really already cut him?
No, Malik Cunningham, I think, was a rookie this year. He played receiver in the first half, and then he played QB in the second half, and he scored like twice. He had a hell of a preseason game.
Apparently not.
But right now, I'm not showing anyone other than Mac Jones for Patriots QBs.
Interesting. They're just like, fuck it. All you guys get out of here. We're bringing in some other people. And then Ty Montgomery is still kicking around the league, although he did not make it this Patriots roster. And he finds himself out there on the streets. I don't really recognize any of these other gentlemen.
He's playing, so.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's a very interesting move over here with the New England Patriots. I wonder what Bill is up to. Not a lot to super speculate. And Tim Boyle catches the axe. Oh, Tim, good old Tim Boyle. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, let's see over here with the Jets, who are gearing up. Anthony Brown, as you mentioned, Melvin Gordon catches the axe. I think that's about it. I don't know if we recognize anybody else there. It's kind of sad I don't recognize anybody on the defense. It's pretty sad.
Trevor Simeon's gone with the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. Who knew he was even back in the league? Wasn't he in the USFL briefly?
I think he went in whenever Burrow got hurt. I remember seeing him play last year.
I think that's who he was his backup, yeah.
Yeah, he was a starting backup last year. Oh, I mean, starting backup. Right. He was that QB2.
He was number 2.
Right.
Kellen Mond. I thought it was Moore. But no, Kellen Mond. Don't know who that gentleman is, but he is not on the Cleveland Browns anymore. Let me just tell you guys that, okay?
Bummer.
Yeah, dude, he's gone. And then, the Pittsburgh Steelers make a plethora of cuts here.
Hakeem Butler was one of them. He was the standout wide receiver for the St. Louis XFL team.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he got cut.
Oh no, Butler. Did any of the USFL guys make a roster?
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them did.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam Humphries. Oh no, Humphries. No. Why would they do this to you, Humphries? Old Buccaneers wide receiver went over to the Titans, and we never heard from him again. In the league, the league in general has never heard from him again. Kedrion Drake. Yep, that's a pretty big cut. Had a decent year with the Raiders last year.
Brashad
Perriman, Amari Rogers.
It
looks like a couple guys like
a lot of people.
Yeah.
But they don't. Shouldn't they, in theory, all cut the same amount of people? Like, don't they have to downsize?
No. Some people cut at different rates, and I think you can have it like as many. I think you can have as many as you want on the roster, right, Dan? Or does it have to be 75 as you go?
No, I think there's a cap. Yeah, there's a cap.
Okay. Yeah.
So one of my favorite cuts in this one is Josh Peterson, because Doug Peterson cut his own son.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Hell yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, take
Talk
that.
about an awkward family dinner.
Right.
You suck, Josh. Sorry. You're just not good enough, son.
Yeah, because he had a good season in the USFL with I believe it was Houston. So that's what got his eyes.
He's 25. Maybe he can still bounce back. Jonathan Ward, I feel like I heard of as well, but he now gets cut from the Tennessee Titans. Do you boys recognize any of these other guys? Corey, do you know who Mason Kinson is? Kinsey?
No, but some of these dudes are pretty funny names.
Stephen Jones, the fellow Stephen catches the axe.
I was like, the guy just throws the ball to himself.
Oh, and then Kendall Hilton, wasn't he the guy that threw the receiver last year?
Oh, yeah, the receiver that went at QB.
Yeah, the QB. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Keep him around just for that, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's nonsense.
He's your
emergency. Might have been a better option than Russell at some point.
Right.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of these cuts here from
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson got cut.
His transition to DB just didn't work out for him. Honestly, he should have stayed at quarterback.
He had the speed for it.
He was getting paid a lot more at quarterback anyway. I don't know why he made that transition.
This was one that I was a little surprised about. Max Duggan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I recognize that name.
Yeah, he took TCU to the national championship game last year and lost to Georgia.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's who it is. Yeah, that is an interesting cut.
I mean, he was definitely one of the higher. I mean, he didn't get drafted too high when it came to quarterbacks, but still, he had a pretty phenomenal year. Darius Shepard is another one, wide receiver that stands out to me as well. He's I believe he's been around for a little bit, 27 years old. So,
who was the dude that was like? I think he came over from NFL Africa.
Oh yeah, the
D lineman for the Chargers.
The defender, yeah, I can't remember his name.
But I guess he made the team.
Yeah, I don't see a name that I recall it being.
Looking at the Cowboys, I don't think we recognize anyone here either, right, boys?
I mean, other than their QB, that's about it.
Will Gear.
Yeah.
Tommy DeBeeke also catches it. Oh, James Robinson catches the axe over with the Giants. Interesting. Poor Robinson has been struggling ever since that rookie year. Came from Rockford, so it'd be nice if he could figure it out. But, yeah, Cole Beasley.
Retires, get him on the Ravens.
Dude, I didn't even know Cole Beasley was still in the league. I thought he retired.
No, he went over to the Bills for a minute, and then I guess he was over here, and then
Jamison Crowder. That's another good name.
That's another big name, yeah. Been around, always kind of bad. He's like that guy like when you're digging deep in a really deep fantasy league, and you see Jamison Crowder, you're like, oh god, I guess I'll start him, and then he gets you 3 points. You're like, thanks, Crowder.
And then you wanted to cut him.
And then you cut him as soon as you have an opportunity. Yeah, that's Crowder in a nutshell. No shade though, Crowder. Love you, buddy. Anyway, the Eagles also make a bunch of cuts. I don't really recognize. Oh, Greg Ward is out. Interesting. I do remember Greg Ward. Pretty fast receiver over there. It's kind of surprising.
They just got such good receivers, man.
Yeah, they kind of got like everybody over there.
That's a big roster cut. That's a bunch of dudes. Cut 2 punters.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. Take that, you punters.
You lost the punt off.
Punt off. Lost.
Tight end / fullback.
And then a bunch of cuts from the Commanders as well. They really got to change their name. PJ Walker finds the X. Oh no, PJ. Nathan Peterman as well. I cannot believe that Nathan Peterman is still in the league, dude. I mean, not right now.
I'm surprised if Walker ends back up in the XFL.
Yeah,
sure.
For
that guy runs the XFL.
Absolutely. He did have a good chance with to prove himself with Carolina last year and just was not able to. But yeah,
reps.
Nathan Peterman still in the league and gets cut. It's pretty surprising to me. Don't recognize Craig Reynolds. I remember this guy from what's it called, from Hard Knocks last year. Bummer for Mr. Reynolds. Oh, and Benny Sneal as well.
Looks like Teddy Bridgewater made the team, so that's good.
Denzel Mims gets cut.
You guys see they walked him out there with like a number 50 or something in the preseason?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater had a number 50. Oh, the USFL 2-time MVP got cut by Green Bay.
No.
Not Alex Magoo.
Why? Believe it, Alex. It's so sad. It's like seeing all of our boys get cut. You know, we had so much hope. We had so much hope for these guys. Oh.
Well, that guy, he spelled Corey wrong, so he obviously had to get cut.
Yeah, obviously. Dude, get out of here, Corey.
And
and there's another one. Jordan Tabo also cut. No, Jordan.
Well, they didn't even give him like.
Abram Smith. No.
That's 2 DC defender boys right there.
Damn, the boys were there together trying to make the team. That's just so sad to me. All right, anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, really sad for the boys.
Kept all their quarterbacks over here, though. They're like, we don't trust Ritter, man. We need all our QB.
Looks like it. Jake Luton, get out of here, Jake.
Hey, you never know who could pick them up before the season starts.
Hopefully. It's pretty sad.
Or who can pick them up mid-season.
Or mid-season, yeah.
Get out of here, Saints. Who cares what you guys did? All right, the Buccaneers cut Ronnie Brown, who actually had a pretty good preseason for us. So I'm kind of bummed to see this. Played really well as a rookie. I'm a little surprised.
My brain went to like the old Ronnie Brown that was on the Dolphins.
Me too. But he is a pretty good rookie. He had some pretty good runs. I'm kind of disappointed to see that, honestly. I don't recognize any of the other gentlemen, which is to say I haven't been paying attention to my normal Buccaneers podcast. Otherwise, I'd probably know these guys a little bit better. But yeah, I don't recognize a single name here besides my boy Ronnie Brown, who I only saw some highlights of. So presumably a lot of rookies. Moving on from them. Not good enough, boys. David Blau still in the league. Cut. Colt McCoy is cut. I thought they were starting Colt McCoy.
So this is the crazy thing. They announced that he was starting, and then like an hour later they announced that they were releasing him. So I think it was like they're like, all right, bro, you're the guy standing there. We're fucking tanking, and he was like, nah, man, this is probably gonna be my last year. I don't want my last year to be tanking. This is my theory. This is just what I've put together.
So wait, but how long is Kyle Murray out for? God, he's a pussy.
At least 4 weeks.
He's such a weakling. Anyway,
dude, I contemplated, now that I got I still have like $50 on this stupid FanDuel account. I considered betting the under on the Cardinals because I saw this video of this guy saying that they were going to go 0-17 and the under is like I think 4 games. I was like, well, you know, even if
if Kyle Murray can stay healthy for a couple games, he's not going to let them go 0-17. Like I don't like the guy, but he's not that bad.
Right.
And Jeff Driscoll also catches the axe. It's just like a plethora of old quarterbacks over there.
Yeah.
They were just trying to find somebody to like keep the ship afloat.
So who are they rolling with? That guy who played against Tom Brady in the Monday Night Football game? Like that dude can't throw the ball. He's a running back.
Oh.
No, they won't even announce who's going to be their QB.
Oh boy. Whatever. Cardinals.
It was some dude that came
That was the whole thing I was reading.
Or something like that.
Yeah, God.
Well, anyway, good luck, Cardinals. Moving on, we got Royce Freeman. I do recognize that name. Got a long time back for the Broncos. I thought he was going to break out. Never did. And now he finds himself cut with the Los Angeles Rams as well. Don't recognize any of these other gentlemen.
Did you guys hear about Matthew Stafford?
No, what's up with Matthew?
Apparently, he's not connecting with the locker room very well. Basically because of age difference. And apparently he has a book with everybody's face and name so he knows who people are.
Oh, man.
But the fucked up part is, like, everybody's like, oh, man, Matthew Stafford's old. But this comes from his wife's podcast. Like, he told her.
I was going to say, his wife was talking about this.
Oh, no. So she blew up his spot?
He blew up the poor guy's spot, man. He's out there trying to fucking make a career. And she's like, he's old and can't, make friends with the youth.
Lord almighty, lady. What the fuck?
Willie Snead is still on the plane.
Well, yeah, apparently, but he just got cut. But yeah, that is interesting. He was with what was it, Baltimore last year, and he actually wasn't terrible. Anthony Miller is still out there. Anthony Miller out there trying to still do something. Didn't quite make it. Chris Conley. Do recognize that name, don't I? Maybe not. Anyway, he is 30, so he's been around, so I probably do recognize that name. Anyway, he also cut. And that's the 49ers who are looking dangerous as hell again.
They just punted, what's-his-face, Trey Lance to the Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Well, thank goodness.
Yeah.
We're done with this list because I've lost
Don't know who any of these people are. Yeah,
it's good time to move on. So we're going into a quick preview here of the Dallas Cowboys for this 2023 to 24 season. But before we do that, I have a non-sponsor sponsor for us today, ladies and gentlemen. Raw Products. Now they offer everything from your cones to put your weed in, or tobacco, whatever you're into, or a combo. You can put that into these nice little cones, and you can use their other device, which I also have, a 6-shooter. So if you're one of these guys who isn't great at rolling joints, no longer worried. You just put your cute little cones inside of here, drop in whatever your product is, bam, easy money, and it is much simpler than trying to roll a bunch of joints. Plus, if you're trying to roll like 14 joints for a day of rugby at a tournament, you're gonna need a 6-shooter so you can roll 6 of those bad boys at a time.
Sounds expensive.
Well, dude, Captain Life is expensive. But anyway, 14 joints is a bit much, actually. That's more like a weekend. Or a very long rugby tournament, which I definitely have gone through 14 joints in. Anyway, moving on to the Dallas Cowboys as they prepare for their new season. So, Cooper Rush is listed as number 2 right here, but as we mentioned, Trey Lance just got traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, is he better than Cooper Rush?
Yes.
Yeah? All right.
Cooper Rush arguably already has more snaps than him.
Yeah, exactly. Trey Lance has played so little, it's kind of hard to say what he is, and the fact that they just
4th-round pick, dude.
It's wild to even go back through college about how little this man has played.
Back to high school. He's barely played in high school. It's like, what? How does this guy keep on getting so many opportunities? He just looks the part.
Between college, NFL regular season, and preseason, he has under 500 snaps.
Yeah, they're saying Geno Smith had more snaps than him last year. Yeah, it's insane. Dude.
It is absurd.
And yet, this
my
guy
coworker and I were talking about that the other day. Was like, you have to go back to high school. I think for the last time he actually played an entire season.
Wow.
What the hell? And yet, this kid's already a millionaire. Must be nice being slightly decent and looking the part at quarterback. Must be nice, man.
But it's crazy that they're just like, this guy that we have no information on, he's the one, go all in, give away the fucking farm for him. Yeah, didn't they trade up for him too? Yeah. They traded with the Dolphins. The Dolphins turned that into Jalen Waddle.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Tyreek Hill and some linebacker, I think.
Sorry, I take it back. His sophomore year of college is when he played a full season. But freshman year, 2 games played, no games started. Next year, went 16 for 16 starting and played 2020 started one, played one.
Anyway, good luck, Trey Lance.
Like, wild.
Yeah, no, I mean, hopefully he's great. Now we have him. Hopefully he's great.
Hopefully he's awesome.
I still think with him coming into a new system, I would prefer that he's not like the backup if Dak gets hurt. You know, give him a little time to figure out what the fuck is what before he gets,
do you think that
out there.
Because my thing is he has speed, right? Like we can agree on that.
Yeah.
And like, do you think they would almost try to like use him like a what was his name? Taysom Hill down in New Orleans?
He's too fragile, dude. He's made of glass, apparently.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I'm not saying they have to run him, but like if you put him and Dak in the back and you don't know which one of them is going to throw it, like that's a problem.
Everyone says this, but then there's a reason you don't have two quarterbacks out there, you know?
Typically you don't have two quarterbacks that are like relatively mobile like that, though. Because Dak still has a little bit of wheels left on him.
In theory, you could do that with Lamar Jackson and his backup. What was it? Something Hunt?
Oh yeah.
Those dudes are both the same play style.
I mean, they've done like the Ravens have done that where they have both of them on the field together.
Okay, fair enough.
They've definitely done that a handful of times.
Well, moving into this running back room, Tony Pollard finally gets his opportunity to lead this backfield. I don't know who Mr. Rico is, but good for him. And Malik Davis heading up the third one. But what I thought was interesting was my boy Ronald Jones. I didn't realize he was over there with the Cowboys now. Had a terrible year last year with the Chiefs. They pretty much signed him and then just put him on the bench for the entire year. It was quite amusing. And like as a guy who kind of like Ronald Jones, didn't really. He was kind of always pouty and sort of just, I don't know. He was never good, not to mention. But anyway, never really panned out for the Buccaneers with his silly red hair. So it was definitely amusing for me to watch various points in the Chiefs season where like you just like they would zoom in on him on the sidelines just pouting. I was like, oh my god. Anyway, he finds himself at the fourth position here with the Dallas Cowboys. Although we just looked at the Cowboys' cuts, it looks like he made the team.
Also, I'm surprised that Deuce is so far back. He was like the preseason legend. He was just out there bouncing the ball, just cleaning up. I thought he would be much further on that list.
Well, as we mentioned, the preseason apparently means nothing because the guy who did that for us, we straight up cut. So.
Right, and the guy that did it for the Patriots also got cut. That wide receiver / quarterback.
Right, so I guess it just doesn't matter.
That crazy quarterback from Jacksonville that like the entire team tried to tackle him, they decided not to, and he threw a touchdown pass. That dude made the cut, right? Like you got to keep that guy. I mean, I get that we had like preseason level talent out there trying to tackle him, but still, those are he's carrying grown men. Yeah, exactly.
So going into the receiver room, I didn't realize you guys had gotten Brandon Cooks. That's a nice pickup. So him, Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb.
Camp with us.
So they are going to go ahead and hold up those first three receiver rooms. Quite a fall off after that. I believe I know Capon Turbin. I believe I've seen him.
He came over from the.
That was the USFL guy.
USFL.
Oh, okay, okay.
He was a Pro Bowler for returns last season.
He is wicked fast.
Yeah, he's a useful little engine.
Cool.
So,
this guy looks like he's got to step up. He only has 6 receptions so far in his career.
I think when we just saw the list, I think he wasn't on it.
Oh,
like
shit.
He was one of the dudes that they were like, "Nah, you're out."
Huh?
Could be wrong.
Yeah,
I thought I saw.
How do we feel about Jake Ferguson? I've never heard of him.
Oh,
I think I've heard of him.
As soon as they said that we were fucked because we were losing Schultz, I was like, "Nah, man, we got Ferguson." Like Schultz was hurt, and I remember seeing Ferguson just like leaning up with like ridiculous catches, just not going down. I was like, we don't even fucking need Schultz. He can't block. Give us Ferguson.
But he has 3 receptions at 38 yards, Corey. So maybe your eyes.
It was all in one game.
Oh, okay. So it was all okay. All right. 3 very powerful catches that won Corey over, and apparently the coaching staff as well, because they have given him the starting position.
I think he was a rookie last year.
Okay.
I think that's also why we're okay with Schultz leaving, because they saw enough out of him in that one game.
Fair enough. I did think this was amusing. There's 3 T-words all holding down the offensive line here. 2 Tylers, 1 Terrell Smith, 2 Smiths. Kind of.
Well, there's 4. Because your right tackle is Terrence.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, wow. So it's the T's holding down the offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys. Corey, how do you feel about that?
Led by Zach Martin.
Their
And
offensive,
then Zach Martin.
offensive line's still good.
Yeah, so
They've
still a
always-
solid ass offensive line.
If we gotta dig in deep, we got another TJ Bass back there. So we could have a full line of T's if we really need
Oh
it.
yeah. He's way back there though. So let's hope we don't get to him.
Hopefully Zach Martin stays healthy. But I'm just saying, if we need it, we got more T's in the back pocket.
Hopping into this defense, love to see DeMarcus Lawrence out there. Solid player, just one of those guys consistently as fuck, doing his thing. Don't really recognize the rest of the defensive line, and of course Michael Parsons heads up, and Vandercheck head up the defensive line. The linebackers. Not a bad looking cornerback duo between Gilmore and Diggs. That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
That's a good 1-2 punch there at corner. Although it does look like there's a bit of a drop off after that. I don't recognize any of these other gentlemen here. Do any of you guys?
I remember Malik Hooker, and I don't remember if it's because he was doing well or if it's because he was sucking. So
Malik Hooker's a safety. No, Malik Hooker's a safety. He came over from the Colts. He's good.
All right. So yeah, I saw him doing cool shit, and I was a fan of it.
But anyway, that's the Dallas Cowboys 23-22 roster. 24. I'm sorry. Return man. Turpin.
So if you had to pick a guess, we're not talking about Frankie money here. What do you put the Cowboys finishing this year?
I did actually put down money. I put money on the line for 10 wins. I put $50 in for them to make the playoffs. So it was one of those things where if you do a bet, they give you more they give you just fake money that you have to place a bet. You can't cash it out. So I put another 150 on them making the playoffs, and then I still have 50 to spend at some point throughout the season. But
big money.
I think they can make 10 wins. It's a dangerous division, but it's a good team.
Yeah.
So as long as we clean up everyone else, dude, pretty much the whole division almost made the playoffs last season. I think the Redskins missed it by one game, and the Cowboys didn't necessarily get worse. So I think they'll be fine. This team is healthy. We don't necessarily have anyone that's really injury prone, other than maybe Gallup.
So week 1 of the Giants, week 2 of the Jets. Starts off hard. Then you got the Cardinals, Eagles. The Patriots, a little bit of a respite there, and then 49ers, Chargers, ouch.
And you have with the 49ers, you have your playoff matchup from last year.
True.
Yeah.
And you got the Rams and Eagles coming out of the bye, which is nasty, and then the Giants again. Carolina, which probably might be an easy game. Who knows? You got the Commanders, probably the worst team in the division, but also as you mentioned, Corey, still pretty good. Seattle Seahawks were hot last year. Got Philly again. Buffalo, ouch. Miami, ouch.
Detroit. The fact that it's at Buffalo should get interesting.
Honestly, this whole fucking schedule is rough, dude. This is a rough schedule.
It's one of those things who do you really who? It's the beginning of the season. Everybody looks good. Unless it's the Cardinals, you're okay, cool, that's a gimme. Everybody looks good right now. You got to see what actually happens in the season. Who's
100%
teams totally fall apart. For all we know, the Jets could fall apart. They're a question mark right now. They got a lot of pieces, but they could be great. They could be terrible.
Yeah, 100%.
Same thing that happened with the Broncos last season. Chances are they're going to be great, but there's so many.
Another one you have the Lions. The Lions played really well last year. It took it down the stretch. There's no guarantee that it's going to carry over this year. Same with the Seahawks. No one saw them playing like they did.
They're bound to figure their shit out, right? They got all their players back, so until the season starts, it's kind of hard to say who's going to be the guys, but
100%. Even the Chargers are one of those teams that's always good, but then they're always beatable as well.
The Cowboys are good enough. I think they can get 10.
I believe it. I think 10 is not at all unrealistic. Boys, as we go.
Also, in solidarity with Frankie, I put another 50 on the Steelers beating the line. They only need 9 wins, but he did actually follow through with that bet. Nice. He made it happen, so it's gonna be a fun season for him.
Oh boy,
for me too. I'm emotionally invested in this, man.
We all are.
I've already set all my notifications for all Steelers games to alert me scores. Like, I think I set it by quarter, so I can see where this emotional roller coaster's
Look,
headed.
we're all fucking Steelers fans this season. Like,
Ah,
we're all in it to win it. I mean,
as long as they don't play the Buccaneers, I'm down.
I mean, the man's crazy, but I love it.
Yeah, no, it's ballsy strategy, guys, and see if it pays off for him.
He says it's a worthy investment. All right, guys. Any final
It's an investment.
Any final thoughts on as we head into this week? I mean, after Memorial Week, we're finally starting off with everything. College football isn't even waiting. They're like, "Fuck it, we're going. Fuck Memorial Weekend." So they're having at it this week. At least we'll have some college football to talk about next week. I believe the World Cup kicks off here. Does the World Cup kick off this weekend or is it next weekend, Dan?
No, it's next weekend.
It's next weekend. Okay.
The 8th. Yeah, it's the 8th, 9th.
We're getting down to it, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned, we may or may not have Jeff Jewell on here to talk a little bit about some Coyotes rugby. We got exciting things coming up here, so just make sure you're subscribing, hitting that notification thing. Otherwise, you won't be able to see Corey's beautiful face, and that would, make you sad. Any final thoughts for the public out here, people? Dan, Corey?
More tacos.
Yeah, definitely eat more tacos.
Just find tacos and eat them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to wait for Tuesdays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every day is Tuesday if you believe it in your heart.
Absolutely. Well, with those final thoughts, Sports by Compian. Out!